What is up YouTube? It's your boy SmackNPie here. So today is going to be an interesting, it's going to be a short video, but it's going to be an important and interesting one. Why? Because bam, on your screens, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not playing around today because the final Dark Deception Enhanced Plus teaser for characters reveal, the characters model, the new enhanced character model reveals, the final one has been released, and it is none other than Trigger Teddies, as you can see on your screens. Now there's a lot of things that you can say about this character model, about this enhanced model, but with everything that we've been seeing so far with all the other characters, this one is like going under the radar, but there's actually a massive changes compared to the previous one. The color one, the actual color now feels like an actual cloth compared to the previous one. And I don't have to mention about the texture of everything, literally everything, because the suits that these Trigger Teddies wear, even the mask on their heads, we are to assume that it's been sworn by Mama Bear herself, right? We've seen her costume as well, and we've seen when we were playing the Barely Buried levels that they're wearing these costumes, they're wearing these clothes on themselves to hide their ugliness, right? That's not the theme of the level, that's not what I'm saying. But speaking of the ugliness, you can see the ugly looks even uglier. But these are more like subtle changes, the ones that are more about the visuals, the textures, the materials, as opposed to some canon lore changes and whatnot. We don't want that anyway. Now that the models have been revealed, the only thing that is left are the environments. Now we know that Super Dark Deception Chapter 2 is coming soon, right? We're going to talk about it in just a second. And we know that after Dark Deception Fortnite map, we're going to get the environments reveal, right? So we have yet to see how these models stand out in their environments, right? Because sometimes some of these models, they just go under the radar. They just blend into the environment until that's your point. Like suppose they do the mannequins, the way they design the environment and the mannequin models is so that the mannequins can blend in, right? Disguise themselves as the environment. But that shouldn't be the case for characters like Trigger Teddies. So we hope that there's a distinguish between the color enough so that we can see them coming, but we've yapped enough. We're just gonna have to wait and see when the environments drop, and then once they drop, then we're gonna cross match and compare if the new models do like fit in and whatnot. We've already seen an Enhanced Plus Gold Watcher screenshot, and there's a lot to say, but we're just gonna hold on to that because I believe that is from the in-engine picture whilst being in development. So when they actually reveal the final thingy, then we can say whatever we want to say. Wow, I've yapped enough for this one Trigger Teddy model. Let's move on to the next one. Speaking of Super Dark Deception, we're going to come back to Chapter 5 in just a second, but we got a brand new Dark Star teaser. Thank goodness, ladies and gentlemen. You know how long we have to wait for a new Dark Star teaser. Even the Super Dark Deception will take it. The caption here says, "Don't despair. We can't all be stars." And here she is, Dark Star, winking at us, talking about how she's the one who's star. We should be in her awe, as opposed to us feeling inspired by her, thinking that we can be star too. That's not the case for Dark Star. There is some lore thingy that we can derive from her, and I know a lot of you have been asking for some Chapter 5 theory videos. Just wait for me a little longer after Super Dark Deception Chapter 2. Once that is out, we get closer to the teasers themselves for Chapter 5. Then we'll start doing Chapter 5 theory videos like we used to do back in Chapter 4 days. There will be some in-depth character analysis. So just bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. We know that this month, Super Dark Deception Chapter 2 is coming. So, we gotta talk about it. Speaking of which, it was revealed that Super Dark Deception will have 6 possible endings. 6 possible endings, ladies and gentlemen. That is huge. Now let's dissect this, right? Because underneath that, Vince revealed that Dark Deception base game and Super Dark Deception base game, right? Those two have 3 exclusive endings each. Like the 3 endings in each of these games, they will be exclusives to each other, and then there are 3 additional endings on top of that are shared. So that way, both Dark Deception, base Dark Deception, and Super Dark Deception will have 6 endings, possible endings, with 3 of them exclusives to base Dark Deception and Super Dark Deception, and the 3 of them shared. We can deduce the shared endings would be the good ending, the bad ending, and the canon ending. I think that's the exclusive one because these are lore, canon stuff, and whatnot. So I think these are the 3 shared endings in my humble personal opinion. The other 3 exclusive endings, at least we can derive in Super Dark Deception from the previous Q&As where we talked about demon difficulty, right? If you play the game on the highest difficulty, right, the hardest difficulty, you'll get a thingy ending, right? And if you play as the easiest of the easiest difficulty, you get another ending. So something of that nature. I think it's for Super Dark Deception we can deduce that, but for Base Dark Deception, I think that is yet to be seen. We can do stuff like this in Super Dark Deception, but what can we do other than the main endings for the Base Dark Deception, right? That is just have yet to be seen. I do want to point out that a long time ago in one of the Q&As, I don't know if this information is outdated or not because things change rapidly when it comes to Dark Deception development cycle, but a long time ago Vince mentioned how there will be some guest ending here and there, like there will be some involvement of other thingy in the Dark Deception. Of course it would be non-canon, but again, we don't know how outdated that information is, if it's even true to begin with. So we're just gonna have to wait and see. I made a separate video on possible 5 endings. We talked about that a long time ago, and we went into details as to how siding with Beers would come into play, siding with Malak would come into play, how there's an additional ending where you side with none of them, and there's that ending as well, with the potential of Doug Hauser sacrificing himself for his daughter. There's also another ending that I just thought about. Think of it as Resident Evil Village, right? Rose and Ethan. Resident Evil 9 trailer just dropped, by the way. I am so itching to make some Resident Evil 9 videos, Silent Hill F videos. There's a new game that was announced in Summer Game Fest called Fractured Blooms. It's by the same publisher, another developer of Doki Doki Literature Club Plus, and they said it's like Doki Doki Literature Club meets Silent Hill. You know I love those two things. So if you want me to make a video on that, Fractured Bloom, do let me know. There's also a new reveal for the Ilda horror game. We made a video on that as well a long time ago. And also End of Abyss. This is from Section 9 Interactive, the ex-people of Little Nightmares. Like they don't work there anymore. They made their own studio, and love to see that it finally got an official announcement. End of Abyss is the name. So let me know if you want me to make videos on those, because I'm so hyped for them. Some of them even have release dates. So yeah, bro, us horror fans, we be eating good. But what do you think these possible 6 endings are? Count them as together. These are 9 endings that us Dark Deception fans can get across Dark Deception and Super Dark Deception. I already talked about the 3 shared endings that could be the case. But one more ending that I'm thinking, and this is where we're going to end the video. It could be a good segue to the next video for Resident Evil 9. Think of Doug Hauser as Ethan Winters. Except Doug Hauser has done horrible things to his family, right? And in there, he kills both Beers and Malak. I say kill, most like defeat it, right? He defeats both Beers and Malak, right? He sacrifices himself. I'm not saying he's going to destroy the ballroom. I'm not saying any of that. I'm not saying he's going to defeat a monster and put an end to him. That's not going to happen. The Dark Deception universe is way vast, far more bigger than just Malak, just Beers and whatnot. These are just a small pocket dimensions, right? What if, listen to this, what if he sacrifices himself with the help of Clarissa Elise Hauser, right? They both pass away, but in doing so, they defeat Beers and Malak. Tammy Hauser gets another shot at life. What? Let that sink in, bro. I've been thinking about the possibility of this. Look, Vince is a huge Silent Hill and Resident Evil fan, right? We've seen that with Heathers in Silent Hill 3. We've seen that with Rose in Resident Evil Village. The development of Dark Deception is still ongoing. It's a highly likely scenario that he might have changed his mind about Tammy Hauser being reincarnated. Maybe one of the deals could be that he sacrifices himself so that Tammy Hauser can get a chance at life once again, lives her life. And in the sequel, ladies and gentlemen, we play as Tammy freaking Hauser while she discovers all the secrets and try to, either bring his family back, or, kill all of this once and for all. But she uncovers that there is a whole new layer in this whole universe that she didn't had any clue on how to tackle and whatnot. I'm just spitballing, but this is just one of the things that just came to my mind whilst I was watching Resident Evil 9 trailer. Could be cool. What do you think? Listen, because Vince did mention, and this is where I'm gonna, I know it's been going on for long. What do you think is gonna happen? Because Vince did mention that the ending of Dark Deception Chapter 5, the canon ending, is gonna lead us into Dark Deception's sequel. The ending is gonna take us and set up the sequel. So I think daughter Tammy Hauser is on the line to take over after Doug Hauser. I'm not saying she's gonna be the protagonist of sequel, but I think she's gonna play a huge part either way in the sequel, because remember, it's a trilogy. Pierce's story was just the first part of the trilogy. Susu for more 100k. Now I'm excited for chapter 5. We just have to wait a little longer. First, chapter 2 of Super Deception, Fortnite map, environments reveal, and then the teaser. So next 2 months, this month and the month after that, we are eating good. On top of that, Silent Little F and Resident Evil got release dates. What? It's good time to be a horror fan. Susu for more 100k. Please let me know should I make videos on those other titles that I mentioned. I'll see you in the next one.